Namaste and welcome to the 59th episode of TeaTalk. This is your host, Shilu. Once again, I have a very wonderful guest all the way from Toronto, Canada. She's a woman in finance. She's a certified professional accountant who has been working in the entertainment industry as a senior director in finance for so long. And as a researcher, finance, women and finance, I was always fascinated with the subject, and I cannot talk about the need and importance of having women in this area. So it's my honor as well as joy to welcome a very wonderful woman who has been making impact in the life of people working in the finance sector for so long. So let's welcome Seema Singh from Toronto, Canada. Hello, Seema. Welcome to Tea Talk.
Hi, nice seeing you.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for taking time to join our podcast, I would say. And it's wonderful to talk to women who is in finance. Let me start that way. So I don't
Wow,
know much. So you please introduce yourself or tell us about yourself.
sure, I will. But before that, thank you for having me here. As I said, I know we've been planning on connecting, but luckily, finally, we could.
Yeah.
So thanks again. And I don't have much to say about myself. Give me 1 second. It's just that, like, my name is Seema, and I am from India. We immigrated about over 20 years from now.
20 years.
So this feels like our second home, of course. Not that we can forget about India at any time, but yes, this is our new home.
Course.
And other than that, as I said, I've always been working back in India and here. So work has been my second marriage. I should say I'm married to my work. Uh,
Yeah.
that's basically about it. I've got two boys. Um, the older one is in US,
Okay.
and I think you guys know him.
Right. Yeah.
And the younger one, he was born here, so he's in high school.
Great.
And my husband is in IT. I'm in finance.
Yeah.
That's about my intro, unless you want to know more.
Sure, sure. Yeah, of course, I would love to know more because one of the area that I'm personally interested is in women in finance again. And as a researcher of women entrepreneurs and their finance, I mean, I was amazed to find out, not amazed, but I was scared to find out that, oh my God, there's such a little number of women who are actually literate in finance, I would say, because regardless what level of education they have, regardless what field they work, research shows that most of the women, like almost 70% in North America, that includes Canada and US both, right? They
Yeah.
have the third graders level of financial literacy. So when I found out that during my research as a PhD student, I was, oh my God. So I was not the only one, but good to know that you fall on the other side, right? As being a woman in finance. So that's a huge thing in itself. And not many people, I mean, again, I said that regardless the education, regardless the work experience and whatnot, so there is still limited number of women who are actually in this field working as the professional, working as the expert, and you are a certified professional accountant, right? So how long you have
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I've got a few designations across my name. That makes me
been.
feel good when I look at it, but I don't know what value they add. But yeah,
See,
if
again,
you
like this
ask,
side and the other side, I fall in this side because I was always not great in maths. And I was thinking, oh my God, maths. But here you are, I'm talking to a professional in finance. So tell us about the,
okay, you make me feel good.
of course, you should be, yeah. And so tell us about some of the choices you made in life. And like, tell me, like a girl, Seema, who used to go to school, was she very interested in math right from the beginning? Or did you choose it as something, I mean, for the work or the, I don't know, opportunity of
Honestly, if I tell you my story, it's a long story, but I love still talking about it. You won't believe it. Maths and account, like in accounts, I never liked accounting. Let
Okay.
me tell you this.
Okay.
Maths, yes, I enjoyed doing maths and physics. I probably, if it was like, if I was really more informed about what choices I can make, I would have probably taken more on the science side.
Okay.
But the reason why I took commerce was because my friends were there. So
Okay.
that
Okay.
was, I'm like, people will, now people will make fun. But at that time, I'm like, I'm talking about what, when did we make those choices? In early 90s, late 80s and early 90s, right?
Right.
So it's like at that time, there was not much information. My parents didn't know, we didn't know what commerce means. I just took that because that is where all of my friends were going, the ones that I wanted to hang out with.
Okay.
And that's where I would say my journey or my destiny probably had decided that I need to go that route. So I went there, and like one after the other thing, whatever I did was basically so that I can be closer to my friends. That was all my goal in life at that time.
Yeah. I can see
Even my professors had come over to tell my mom and dad to say she's good in her, like, in science and maths and physics. Why is she not going in medicine, which is generally like the trend, right? Like, if they're
yeah.
studying, it's either they become a doctor or an engineer, not really commerce. Commerce was not heard of, not even then. And then while I was doing my graduation, again, my friends wanted to write this entrance exam for CA, chartered
Okay.
accountancy. So I followed along, and I applied. And the irony was, like, we were four of us
Okay.
that wrote the exam. And I don't know whatever happened, whatever miracle happened, or was it destiny? The other three didn't clear, but I was the only one who cleared the
Oh my
entrance exam. And it was like, that day is like so many years back, and I still cannot forget. It was as if yesterday. Like, we were sitting and having our, snacks. And at that time, the results used to come out in a newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
And they're telling me, do you know your roll number? I'm like, no, I'm not even looking at it. I'm not looking at it because I couldn't write my exam properly. I ran short of time, and all sorts of things happened. And to my, surprise or astonishment, I should say, I was the only one who cleared of that little group that we
God.
were. So yeah, it felt very good, but I didn't know what to do next because, as I said, all I was doing was kept following what they were doing.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, everything stopped at that point. But again, as I say, that's why I strongly believe, I don't know if everyone else believes or not, but for me, at least the career path, I can say I strongly believe in destiny. So I dropped, I'm like, I qualified the entrance, but I didn't know what to do. So I left it and I continued with my graduation. And like, it's just so happened that I had gone out somewhere, and on my way back home, I met with that same gentleman who had to sign. At that time, CAs had to sign for me to even apply to
Okay.
write the exam.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, okay, so what did you do? Did you write your exam? I'm like, yeah, I wrote, I qualified. And then he's like, what next? I'm like, I don't even know what to do next. And he's like, get your dad to come to my office tomorrow. And
Okay.
then he had his own CA form. I'm like, all that is like as if somebody had already planned your way up to here, right? I'm like, it was so, even now when I think, I'm like, how could all that happen? Like one after the other. So yeah, he called me over, and then that's where my journey to my professional accounting designation started. That's where like I got enrolled in as an article in his mm, firm, and then I finished my CA. But as soon as I finished my CA, I got married, and then within a year, I immigrated here. Like, within a year, no, sorry, within a year or two, no, 5 years later, I immigrated here. And
Okay.
then here I had to start again. That that was the sad part. Like, sad part in the sense you go through so much. Like doing CA, they take your blood out of you. Like, that's what I would say at our age, at that age. It was very, very tough there. But maybe that helped. I was able to get my CPA from US and do my CGA from Canada. So I've got 3 Cs
You see?
now. Yeah. The
Yeah.
designation, the other two designations weren't that as hard, but yes, I had to juggle a lot between my personal and my professional life at that time.
Right.
Yeah.
And listening to your story, I'm glad I asked because I wanted to know whether the girl Seema, I mean, she chose it by interest or, and like it's amazing story with friends, right? And it is said that
No,
whoever,
I didn't.
whoever five friends you hang out
Actually,
with.
at that time, I'm like, I don't know about other countries, but in India,
Mhm.
it was not even known of for women to be doing CA.
Okay.
When the firm that I joined,
Right.
firm, there were 30 articles, like, 30 of us, 29 boys. I was
Oh
the
my
only
God.
and the
Okay.
first girl. I was so nervous because my dad always had me like, you're going to a girls' school, a girls' college, a girls' this, a girls' school.
And
And then here
29
I
boys
am with,
and one girl. Okay.
so yeah, that was like, I was so nervous. I can't even tell you how I used to hide to say, oh my God, these are the days these guys will come to report. There are days like, they generally, we are supposed to go out for auditing. And
Right.
then once in a week, we come back to our home office to like submit our reports. That day was like a dreadful day for me at that time.
At that time.
Not now anymore.
Okay.
Well, yes. Yeah,
Wow.
it was.
Quite a story, right? So,
Yeah.
but I don't know, like I cannot even imagine, but I do understand the role of France at that time, at that age. But as you mentioned, that probably it was destiny for you. I don't know, but I
Yeah.
mean, probably you're already good at it, right? And that's the reason. I mean, you passed the exam and you met the requirement and whatnot. But probably at the time you were not very clear on what
I
you.
wasn't clear about my, yeah, no,
But
absolutely not.
what a pride, like passing all those things and being one girl in the room full of like 29 boys, right?
Oh, I told you, right? Those were dreadful days
See, and
initially.
that also tells that I mean, still at the time till now, I mean, why there is such a limited numbers, I would say, right? The
Number,
percentage of
yeah,
women,
women in finance.
right?
I
Yeah.
agree. No, but you know what? I don't know. But again, as I say, I can speak for what I can't even speak. I shouldn't be speaking for about India either. But from what I've heard from my friends back there, it's
Mhm.
like now the story is completely different.
Okay.
Completely different. A lot of women in this field as well.
Right. And sometimes we feel that a lot of women, because I mean, in our circle, if we see them, right? But I mean, when I looked at the data at that time, I was totally surprised. That much number, I mean, that percentage, it was unbelievable. And when it said that third grader, and I was thinking, oh my God, I was doing my PhD, but I fall in the third grader, probably on the second grader, I don't know. Right. And
What is third grader and second grader?
third grader lives a level of financial literacy women have. Women of
Oh,
North America, that means Canada and American women, they have third graders financial literacy. So when I found out, as oh my God, probably out for a
oh,
second grader,
I
what
didn't know that either.
and that was such an eye-opening I don't know data for me. And so that's the reason the research I did for my the dissertation I wrote for my PhD, that was the women entrepreneurs financial literacy and mentorship. Because when
Oh, okay.
they're not mentors, I mean, where like not many women were financially literate regardless the education, again I'm putting it out there, right? So and but most of the time as women, as yourself and me, like all of us, I mean, most of the women make the financial decision in home, whether to buy like
Yeah, true. Exactly.
what furniture to buy, from what furniture to buy to what is the dinner for tonight, right? The small to
Absolutely.
biggest decisions they are involved, right? But
Yeah.
when they are not competent in themselves and without realization, so it is really, I don't know, I cannot even imagine.
Yeah. No, it's quite shocking and surprising.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had never did that research, so I didn't know. But I'm just looking at people. I'm like, yeah, in my company there are a lot of women who are in like in finance.
Right.
There's like so, but
Yeah.
yeah, you may be right.
Yeah.
I've not gone through the big data
But
crunching that
yeah,
you've done.
I mean, it is interesting. First, I was thinking that it's only me because that fear in math, that fear in accounting, that fear in all those things, that kind of interested me to do the research. And what I found was even shocking, right? So tell me, I mean, as you said that, I mean, going to this path and choosing this path when like putting all those C's in your degrees, right? In the qualification, that
Yeah.
was like to blood draining. That was a hard, I don't know. I cannot even
Oh,
imagine.
it didn't come easy. No, it did not come easy. Like, by far doing CA, at least I was back home. I was single. I'm like single. I wasn't married. So it was like my mom taking care of everything.
Right,
All I have to do is just study, right?
right.
Yes, it was tough, but that comparing that to what I had to go through here
Okay,
was a day and night difference, because here now I was a mom,
right.
so of a newborn. So when I came here, I'm like, I started as an accounts payable. Like, and back in India, when I left, I was a manager finance. And
Okay,
from there, I come back and I have to start fresh. When I said
yeah,
it was like accounts payable, and it was like it wasn't easy for me to take that, because from being at that level to starting from again to get to that, it was like I'll never be able to do anything. But
right,
the good part was, like, thank God I did not give up. But I will definitely, and I don't know, I might be sounding a bit weird, but I feel every step of the way there you will meet people, or you will have circumstances that lead you to your destiny somehow or the other. I'm
that
like,
is true.
there are situations that have happened. There are people who have come and who have advised me, like, again, coming to this country, I don't know where to start now. What should I do? Should I do CA all over again? Already like doing CA for 3 years and then doing it again. It was like I couldn't even think of. And a new country. And then I need to do a job as well, right? We need
Right,
that for our living. When we first come here, it is not easy with one income.
right,
And I had a son already.
right.
So I was like, okay, what should I do? Then there was this colleague of mine in one of the companies, and he advised to say, if you do CPA, like CGA is a very lengthy course here in Canada.
Uh-huh.
It's like so many levels that it takes 6, 7 years for people to finish.
Wow.
And I'm
Okay.
like, I've already spent 3 years doing CA. Now I'm going to spend 7 years doing, like, when am I gonna really get that? So then that person advised me to say, if you do CPA, because in US, it's called Certified Public Accounting,
Right.
there they recognize Indian CAs.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
imagine, like, Canada did not, but
Oh, okay. Yeah.
thankfully US did.
So I was going to ask that, like you're mentioning US and you're in Canada. So did Canada offer, or did you make a choice
No,
to go?
Canada gave me, like, for their thing, they had some credits they gave me for
Uh-huh.
my CA, but
Okay.
I still had to go through at least 4 to 5 years worth of studying, and like each year with that many courses. And the courses are extremely, like, expensive.
Right,
But
right,
luckily, CPA, I'm really surprised, and I'm really happy that at least at that time they recognized, and all I did was write 4 exams.
oh, okay.
And I went and I wrote, yes. It was, again, as I said, with my, at that time I only had my older one
Okay.
son, so we all used to drive to Buffalo for me to go write the exam and come back. So again, thankfully, I didn't have to take many trips. I was able to qualify all the four. And then when I enrolled for CGA, it was just three courses out of the 15 courses that I would have had to take. So
Okay.
I was able to fast forward this whole thing to finish in 2.5 years compared to
See,
7 years. I don't know how long it would take. By then, I would have given up for sure.
but again, I mean, as you mentioned, the destiny. I don't know. Like probably I believe, probably not. But the way you explain, I mean, yes, looks like yours is destiny because
Mine is something
I
like
don't, the
that.
way you
Yeah.
explain, I don't know the way you explain, but yeah, that's interesting. So
No,
tell me, I mean, like as a mother, now let's in this platform we talk a little bit of career and family as well. So
of
as a
course.
mother of a young son and like immigrating to a new country, like making adjustment to everything, right? Pretty much, we start all
Oh,
over.
absolutely.
So how did you at that time, and still because you are a full-time working professional, right? So how do
Yeah.
you balance your personal life versus professional life? Because I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah. So
all the
when
time.
I when I immigrated, for first few years, because I, again, as I said, my younger one, my older one was just starting to go to kindergarten.
Right,
So it was like new country, new everything. So much so that like first couple years, I did not take up any full-time job. I was just doing part-time, but relating to my line, right? Like I was doing some taxation courses I took, and I took up some part-time jobs. And then um, 2004 onwards,
okay.
right? When he was in, where was he? I can't even remember. When he was almost 10
Uh-huh.
years old, 8 or 9 years old, that's when I started a full-time job.
And
And yeah, you know how it is. It's like juggling with putting, but at least he was not an infant.
right.
So going to daycare and all that was taken care of.
Yeah,
Um, I did that. And then with that, I was studying, like with my job, with the house and the studies. So as I said, it didn't come easy. It definitely did not come easy for me. It
right,
was a lot of sacrifices that the family had to make, that I had to make.
right.
And I till date, I regret to say, I'm like, with all this, like when I finished my CA, I was on the top of the world. I was like, I'm done, right?
Yes.
Not knowing that the next 10 years I'm still doing, I'm still studying. So I'm like, I could have spent my time with my kids rather than that. I had to make these choices, which
Yeah.
again, as I said, wasn't really easy for me. But the hardest was when my younger one was born. Then I had a full-fledged job, and I just finished doing my CPA-CGA journey,
Right.
right? So now my
Of
role and responsibility at work also increased
course.
while I had a little one. And this, and like coming from India, like my older one was mostly brought up by my parents, my in-laws. Not, he never ever had to go to daycare.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so, so for this younger one, I tried putting him to the daycare. I don't know it was him or me, but it didn't work out for both of us. And guess what? I quit my job.
You
I,
did.
yeah, it went to a point where I was working in McDonald's corporate office as as a senior accountant,
Hmm.
and I just couldn't take it. Like, going and dropping the baby there, and the amount he used to cry, and then he used to keep falling sick and all that. I just couldn't take it. So I'm like, you know what? I'm done now until he's 10-year-old, or at least 5, 7 years old, till he is like independent. I'm not working. But again, I told you, destiny.
Destiny. Oh my
Oh
God.
my God, I'll probably say this so many times. You, by the end of this interview, you're going to believe. True. No, but because it's just that like I quit my job. I still remember in um, first week of February, and 2 weeks later, I get another offer from ICICI Bank. I I'm like, oh, I'm not going back to work. And then there is like my husband's colleague. He told him about how about having somebody at home to take care of the
Oh,
baby. So sponsoring a nanny, and howsoever, like whatever contacts he provided, we went through the process. Luckily, we found a nanny within a week. I started then following. So
mhm.
first week of March, I was back to work, and
Oh,
that was my quitting for 3 weeks.
okay.
I was yeah. And like my intention was like to quit completely for next at least 5, 7 years, but that didn't work out. Of course, it was expensive, but having a nanny, I will tell you, best few years of my life,
Oh,
best few years,
okay. Okay.
because I had the peace of mind that my child is at home.
Right.
And I'm not sure how many times have you ever visited Canada, especially in winters? Oh my God. So I'm like, I don't have to wrap him up and take
Oh my
him
God.
to the daycare and all that. So he felt safe. I was more comfortable because I could pick up the phone and talk to her. I
Mm.
could, like, if he's not feeling well or if he needs this food, that food. So the nanny, like, she used to take care of him, make our kind of food. And
Right.
not only that, I was also pampered, I would say. So all the
Okay.
cooking and cleaning and
That's all.
everything
Yeah,
for the house was
yeah,
taken care of.
that's great. That's
So
great.
she used to live with us. So like I've had a nanny for almost 8 years. People for 2, 3 years. I'm like, maybe
Yeah.
the first few years was more for my son. After that, it was for me.
Oh, okay. You needed that, right?
It's
After
such
all
a
this
blessing, right? Like you come home, the food is cooked, like our kind of food
right.
is all properly made, and you don't have to worry about anything. Just spend your time with your family. And then it was like, as I said, so that really helped me a lot too. If you were saying, like, how did I balance?
Right, right.
So I balanced with help. I couldn't balance by myself.
Definitely, because I mean, without the help of family, friends, right? Like in your case, nanny too. I mean, that played a huge, huge role, right? So
Yeah,
to become a
absolutely.
very successful woman, I mean, like especially because women they have like multiple roles beside the office work, what you do, right? So
Yeah,
that's amazing that I mean I can see
that
in
helped
your
me.
smile that okay, finally I was like later a couple of years for me. So that was such a fun part even to listen to. So tell me, if not all those cool C's as your title, what Seema would be? Uh,
It's been so many years. I don't know what I would have been, but I can say that my dad wanted me to be a doctor.
okay.
Although I say this, but it is so funny. Although he had that aspiration, but he was ready to get me married when I was in high school.
Okay.
So I don't know which part of him wanted me to be a doctor and what kind of doctor that could be done with high school. But yeah, that's the fun part. But I think I would have gone into medicine because that's my I do have inclination of not that I definitely would never ever become a surgeon. I cannot see blood and all that, but I would really feel good if I could cure people, research things and figure out what can be done. That definitely makes me happy. So
Right.
maybe
So,
that would have been my second option, but
so listening to you, I mean, second choice, second option. I mean, like, what if not this? What in that context? I mean, I kind of got the idea that I mean, like when back there in Canada, here in US, we talk about the STEM career these days, right?
yeah,
So I can see that. I mean, if not accounting or if not mathematics, it would be science anyway. I mean, you would be a doctor.
somewhere related to this. Yeah, yeah.
So how do you think that? Do you think that it would kind of come as a child, like as a girl, if you are interested to do take this path or that, or it is more towards the influence? What do you think? I mean, to I don't know, like to choose art or the science, just like to put
The
it.
science, the being a doctor, I think, because that's one area where I feel that the more information you have, you're much more confident. Like, bringing up children, I'm sure you've gone through this, all moms go through, right? Like, those scary moments to say, oh, is he fine? Is she okay? And this and that. Had I known what to do, and then I'm not running, not knowing what you can do to help, I think that is what makes me feel I would have gone. I don't know if I would have gone and excelled there or not. It's just my inner feeling that I would have known more about how the body works, how to take care of people better, what you can do, the stuff that you can do right from beginning, rather
Right,
than knowing later.
right.
Those are the stuffs. But as I said, I'm like so many years into accounting, I don't even know now. I'm like, what would have been my second plan B?
Oh, okay, okay. Then tell me, what are some of your hobbies, if there is any, beside, I mean, all the like number works you, I mean, they're kind of dry for me, like, right, coming as a poet and whatnot. But for you, I mean, working with the numbers, what are the fun thing that you do as your hobby here, if there is any?
My hobby, as I said, apart from my work, like I enjoy at work. I don't like doing the monotonous job of accounting and keeping books. No,
Right,
that's not my. I'm more into projects.
right, okay.
So I take up the projects and then how we execute the projects and how we implement. So that keeps me um, really engaged at
Right.
work. Outside work, I am I'm like I love music, dancing, parties, all those stuffs. Something that people say that like finance people are generally boring because they're so much into the numbers and this and that, but not in my case. So I'm like, I definitely outside that, I love enjoying, like, enjoying and like hanging out with friends, going out. And as I said, like, other than this, I'm also, we're like, I'm engaged with another NPO, not-for-profit organization. And it's mainly just because it's like, it's an Indian Canadian organization
Right.
where we just try to bring in the culture and community and keep it live. So
Right.
that keeps us busy. Like, okay, let's plan a function, a holy program, or a picnic, or this. Those are the stuffs that I feel that I really enjoy
Of course. And
doing.
again, like the music and that dance
Oh
back,
yes,
it always adds the color in life, right?
yeah.
So,
So
okay, so
I
what?
love dancing,
Oh,
Bollywood dancing.
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. No wonder. I mean, you look gorgeous and like probably for
Oh really?
so
Really?
for fitness also it helps, right? So and I can see you that. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what I'm like, going to the gym is so boring. And why not just do something that you
yes.
like?
True, very true. So tell me, I mean, what would be your suggestions to the women, to the girls, I would say, because if they didn't have aspiring friends like yours who were already in that field, so what would so what
Like if my friends had to hear this, what I said, I'm surely going to get a call from
would
them.
yeah,
I'm like, for girls who want to do their, like, make a career out of it. I know there will always be challenges, and I can definitely say, whether it was a decade ago or now,
right,
challenges will still be there, and I feel women have to go through more challenges because they are kind of making that dent for themselves, because right from back in the time, it was like all guys and working, right? So I feel, whether, even though we've come a long way, we are in a much developed country, but I still feel some part of it still remains even here.
yeah,
So it's like, most of the time there are choices that like, we as women have to make. But I'm like, never let go of your aspiration,
become a
because few
child.
years down the line, you don't want to sit and regret what if.
True.
Give it a try, give it a shot. There will be challenges, but that is what makes us what we are. We are the ones who can stand up for those challenges. I don't think like guys can do that much. Take that, you can edit that piece, but I feel I feel
So,
it's like the women have that power
that's
in
such
them.
a
They can
refresher. So I'm
multitask.
loving that. It's a refresher. So yeah. Okay. So what would be your suggestion, advice to the parents who want their, I mean, who have certain like ideas for what they want their kids to be or certain expectations? So what would be your message to the parents generation?
Well, you know what? I don't think I'm in a very good position to advise about parenting, but from what I have learned
Of course.
to date, I feel that there, like, all of us, when we get to a certain point, we do have certain things that we look back and say, oh, what if we did it this way and not this, right? There are things that we could have done it better. And from that, what I have learned is like, we were brought up like, oh, parents means like, oh, you that they say this and you are going, no questions to be asked. I'm like, let's not be those kind of parents. Let us first become friends
Right.
before we think we are parents, because only if we are friends, they will want to share their feelings and we will be able to guide them better.
Right.
Unless, if we try to be very protective or persuasive, then that door is shut on us.
True.
Then those kids, as much as they love you, they will probably not be so keen to listen to your advice. So if you
True.
really want to advise them in a way that they are ready to take it. You
Right.
got to play all kinds of tricks with them, right? So,
And
so if
again,
you want,
yeah, friends part that always come, right? Sometimes I mean,
yeah,
friends are very important in our life. And in your case, I mean, I can see that, right? But
yeah,
even for us as a parents, we have to take a role as a friend and to be in their level to understand that.
to be in that, I'm like, it's okay to for them to make mistakes. It's okay if they are not that good. It's not that good as that person, because what I've, as I said, from what I've learned from my mistakes is like, we should never compare our children to anybody else, not even the siblings. Like, even the two brothers or sisters, they should not be compared. Comparison is something kids would not, uh, don't gel well at that age. And it's not your kid, my kid, their kid. It's all of us.
All of
I'm
us.
sure we all have gone through those moments in our upbringing. And as I said, learn from my mistakes. Kind of have to say, I should have been more friendly to them. Then probably they'll talk to me more and they'll listen to me more. I've always felt that working better
Mm.
than me being a parent trying to tell them, look, I know this is right, I've been through this. All that is like, it's like they don't even care to listen.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what I felt, but
great.
everyone will have their own experience, I'm sure.
Of course. And we are almost at the end of the program as well. But tell me, if time, I mean, time is the main factor, right? If time and money were not the issue, what is one thing, what would be one thing that you would like to do, whether in Canada or in India or like wherever?
I definitely would like to travel, but just traveling and having fun, I don't think I'll be very happy doing it. I'm like, I want to give back to the community. I don't know what I would do, but I would find some way to give back to the community. Somehow, something, like whether even if it is a volunteer work or even taking care of elderly, senior citizens, whatever. I'm not, as I said, it's not very clear because I never ever was in a situation where I have no problem, no money, no worries about money and time. But if not, then yes. I'm like, as much as I want to spend time with me, myself, my family, I also want to do something that could bring that smile back on people's face. So yeah, maybe helping the sick, helping the old would have been um, one of my.
Definitely. And your answer kind of like tempted me to add a little bit on the mentorship part. That is what I did in my research, right? Because I mean, my area of research was women entrepreneurs and their financial um, independence and mentorship.
Actually,
Because
that was going to be my question to you. Sorry to cut you off, but I'm like, this is such a nice thing that you've like, and like what you've started. And all I want to know from you is like, how did you get inspired to do something like this?
see, again, I mean, in the beginning, as I told you that when I was always interested to like start business and whatnot, right? But when I was thinking that, oh my God, I'm not good at maths. I don't know this, I don't know that, because I have that insecurity in maths. And when I started to do the research, I was amazed to find that almost 70%, 68% women have the third grader in America, Canada, and whatnot. So that was, and first my idea is, oh my God, okay, good. So I'm not the only one, right? But later, as a teacher, as a person in academia, I was feeling, oh my God, what a need, right? There's so much need. And that is what wanted me to, I mean, kind of inspired me to work further in this area. And when I was looking at the entrepreneurship, as I said, that like a small business, almost 90% of the women started business, they fail in first 3 years. And this is why I was thinking, and again, and that kind of like opened up to the findings that they have the lack of mentorship. And
Yeah,
on that, I was kind of going to add on what I mean, like you said that I want to give back to community and whatnot. I can see you would be a wonderful mentor to many women, many like of all generations, right? So
yeah.
they need so much help in that area, and then yeah. So
Why not? I'm like, I wouldn't mind if how we work around it, but I definitely would love to like help or mentor people
right,
if that's something that they would enjoy doing it or get benefit out of it.
wonderful. So is there any
But
final?
really, you're doing an like beautiful thing. Like I don't know, don't have words to explain. It's such a nice thing for you. I just saw that one of the videos uh, of yours on YouTube where you were probably talking to a doctor
Yeah,
from Pakistan,
right.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, that was amazing. I'm like, my God, like how many ideas people can come up with. And it's so nice to talk about, like how many people really want to sit down and talk about you, the good things about you, right? So
Thank you so
absolutely bring
much.
it on. I'm like, this
Thank
is really nice.
That is really meaningful to me. Thank you. And any final word, any final messages that I mean, I didn't ask, and you wanted to share, or any final words before we depart
I
today?
don't think, I think you asked all you could, and I spoke more than I could have thought I would. I was like, okay, what am I going to talk about? I'm like, okay, whatever it is, you figure it out at that time. But I think I talked too much. I'm like, my throat is dry right now. But
And
as I
well,
said, keep doing what you're doing. This is awesome what you're doing. That's all I want to say.
and thank you so
I'm
much.
sure you must have gotten a lot of uh, good words from other people, must have appreciations, right? From other people. It is a nice deed, I would say.
Thank you so very much. And my takeaway is that Destiny, maybe like Destiny kind of like inspired me to do this. I mean,
Today you're going to think, oh, maybe this was destiny. Who
That's
knows?
the
Yeah.
takeaway today. So thank you so much, Seema. And
Oh,
again, I'm very proud of you. And there are
thank you.
lots of women, there are lots of people of all, I mean, all ages, all gender, everyone, and they would be certainly inspired by your story. So thank you for telling.
No problem. Anytime. Thank you.